Hello everyone, we're Silicon High School and today we're going to talk about the topic how to protect the earth from being ruined. But first of all, we're going to answer the question how to survive on a ruined earth.
There is hardly a way for survival on a ruined earth. You can only do so under the premise of the existence of water, which is a basic element of life. In cells and tissues, water participates in all metabolic hydrolysis reactions. It excretes waste products, urea, carbon dioxide, and also has the function of regulating the acid-base balance in the body. Without water, cells and tissues cannot function properly. Nutrients and oxygen cannot be transported, and all living beings cannot survive. Theoretically, I believe that there would still be different climatic patterns taking place on a piece of land that are devastated, only in a more intense manner.
With the change of weather, the interaction of chemicals in various forms would hopefully bring water. Combined with other substances, water can help produce protein, a basic ingredient for a cell. Where there are cells, there's a way. Over time, a brand new biosphere will take form before life on Earth makes adaptation to our own world. Last but not least, this may not be someone's favorite notification, but I still have to remind people to be extremely patient and be able to enjoy longevity no matter what, until a ruined Earth truly makes a comeback.
The biosphere is now confronted with a universal survival crisis, and there is no way for us to stop taking from it as long as we carry on bettering things generation after generation. To give you an idea, forest fires, rising sea levels, and climate changes are some of the many disasters caused by global warming. There are mutual cause and effect that forms an ongoing cycle until the ecological system breaks down and every living thing dies out. It's an inconvenient truth that there's no going back. However, as a part of Mother Nature, we are also held accountable for decelerating the process and extend the lifespan of it to the best of our ability. Because there's a bond called mutualism between us and the environment. The last thing we want is for it to perish. Instead of sitting on our hands, there are a few measures we can take to make a difference. In the following passage, we will have respective discussion according to the correlation and similarity among different sets of guidelines. Here we go.
First up, reduce and replace. Reduce mainly refers to take and use, whereas in moderation. For example, think twice by having inner spiritual conversation before making any purchase. Do we need it or do we want it? It is always good food for thought, and let's just face it. Adapt, reproduce, thus maintaining in a balance we call virtuous cycle. Once the balance is broken, many of its functions slow down or come to a halt. Therefore, in addition to reducing unnecessary consumption in our daily lives, some countries move away from using coal and oil for energy and turn to safe alternative sources, renewable energy, such as wind, solar, geothermal, and hydroelectric power. This indeed gives a breath of fresh air. Besides, many people are counting on electric cars to assist in environmental protection, but there is room for improvement considering its affordability and practicality. What's more, a group of Danish scientists has conducted a research to derive ammonia fuel from water electrolysis and the combination with air. Although it is still tentative in bulky production, they have proved it to be cost-efficient without leaving heavy environmental footprint.
Secondly, reduce and regenerate. In essence, you can avoid wastefulness either by reusing or reducing. Reusing simply takes reducing to a higher level since the item's original properties are retained, which makes it possible for future application. To cite some examples, Scarlett found a way out for 450,000 diapers daily. We launched a project of diapers turned into rooftops. We use diapers for recycling and synthetic batteries for sterilization. And the plastic raw materials and synthetic resin in the diaper are extracted to make carpet sheets, growing seafoods in both sides. Moreover, raw materials for cellulose are taken from carbon boxes for resin agriculture to make new materials.
Speaking of regenerate, it is indicated of things being able to restore to a state being again eligible for creation and intended use. It's about replenishing the things that are being consumed, damaged, or wasted. It can help transform disposable into resources to diminish environmental pollution. For example, with a view to avoiding massive methane emission when coffee grounds degrade, we have a balls that come from the composite material of coffee grounds and plant starch, fabric that consists of coffee grounds and cotton, and cups made from coffee ground via 3D printing. For another, rotten tomatoes are put into a sealed container and combined with a special kind of bacteria that break down the tomatoes while digesting them. As this happens, the rotten tomatoes release electrons, and an electrical circuit has lost bone, and the sealed container acts like a battery. Although it's still a pilot plant due to the weak electric current, scientists have high hopes nonetheless, considering the procedure benefits waste treatment and can be a potential game changer in our pursuit of a better environment. Through the examples provided, it's hoped that more people will come to realize the value of waste and explore possibilities of regeneration before long.
going to recycle and remanufacture. And if you really can get the use out of the product or its part anymore, often the best option is to recycle. So with recycling, you take something apart until you get back to the original resources to make new products and parts from scratch. Pure pulp products ranging from paper tins, toilet paper rolls, to cartons and corrugated paper, metal containers, and supplies inclusive of scissors, hangers, blocks, wires, and utensils, plastic products, garments, laptops, hard drives, and you name it. Even kitchen waste can be recycled to be used to make compostable, and building that up, the world's just awesome. Additionally, instead of repairing what is broken, it is also feasible to take the well working parts of a broken device or make things return to their original state and even use them for outside operations. And this process is called remanufacturing and requires things that are sustainable. By way of illustration, using remanufactured cartridges saves money and helps support local small business and helps preserve the environment. On top of that, it has become a relatively more widespread idea to make sustainable clothes without having to contradict profit-making strategies. And many companies are embracing the concept of circular economy. For example, H&M and Ralph Lauren have both promised to shift their production toward using renewable fabrics through sustainable manufacturing. And remanufacturing improves upon refurbishment, which assures that consumers are receiving what is essentially a new product, and as opposed to simply extending the life of an existing one. And it also helps to satisfy consumers' demand for new quality items while limiting the impacts on the environment itself.
And last but not least, redesigning basically means infusing garbage with creativity and a bit of artistic temper and repurposing them into something brand new which can be used again in other different ways. W Hotel, located in the heart of our capital, started a project called Trash Redesign. We wanted to achieve a more eco-friendly cycle. Therefore, many different designers are invited to use the solid waste the hotel creates daily and repurpose them into things of value or boutiques. One example is from a designer called Fanny, a representative for the company Cash Cash. Her work entitled Jewelry Holder is made from plastic waste. The work itself doesn't hold any resemblance to trash at all. In fact, it seems more like a boutique collection. Fanny herself said she wanted the work itself to not only symbolize the potential of a greener future, but also to be eye-catching by altering the misconception people have toward things that are disposed of. Therefore, she chose this unconventional bright red color for trees and added a touch of contemporary feel to it by streamlining its exterior design. She hopes for it to become a modern style with perspective that people would define as more than cool, beautiful, and as you can see from the picture, multifunctional.
Another example I would like to add to the category of redesign is the container houses in the Netherlands. For the first time in my life, I feel connected than ever to saying, think out of the box. And the logic that sometimes problems can be solutions. When the shipping containers are no longer in use, the Netherlanders collect them to provide low-cost housing, not only for locals, but also for visitors. So one after another, they fit like Lego pieces. And the architects actualize Lego houses in astronomical science and allow people to admire the architecture of geometric lines through different combinations. And elsewhere in the world, offices, restaurants, coffee shops, shopping malls, and even mobile health clinics are made of these containers too.
Mother Nature has always been a family member, a loyal friend, and a provider ever since the beginning of history. However, for so long, human beings have always lived a lifestyle of mine, and then take. During the past few years, we have had our own epiphany regarding a depleted Earth and suffered from our own share of concern and disappointment. It is high time that an unspoken consensus formed that recovering what's being lost or broken and restoring things to the previous state are critical for our environment now. Please join me in watching a time-lapse video clip to see how mankind benefits from self-incurred problems.
protection and keeping up with the above suggested. And we expect to turn the table around with the passage of time and strike the balance between our wisdom of life and the prospect for planet Earth. English speakers like to talk about the weather as a way of breaking ice in their conversation. With that being said, we sincerely hope that the statement meant in its literal sense and joyful conversations continue to circulate without the ice having to break. Hey, never try to fight Mother Nature and it will bite you, and do remember to have respect for everything. And that's the way people keep their luck. And fingers crossed, thank you for listening.